This here says Caicedo talks to Chelsea is odd. He wants Champions League.
Okay, I'm going to nullify this right now.
Go on, Lee.
N'Golo Kante won the league with Chelsea. He didn't sign. N'Golo Kante won that. Well, he did win the league with Chelsea, but he won the league with Leicester. Could he have stayed at Leicester and gone in the Champions League when Chelsea were 10th and not in the Champions League because he wants Champions League football? Yeah, which is the biggest myth ever, by the way. Yeah, peddled by mainstream, right? But he then leaves Leicester, who've just won a league title, which he's in the Champions League. He goes to Chelsea and actually wins the Champions League. They've now been relegated. So this myth that a footballer is going to base his career choices off of a year in the Champions League or 2 years in the Champions League is complete garbage. Yeah, there's plenty of examples of these players that have left clubs to join teams that are not in Champions League. Only last summer, your club signed, you signed Casemiro. He just won the Champions League. You signed Di Maria years ago. He had just won the Champions League. You signed Pogba before in the Europa League. You signed Zlatan in the Europa League. And
Pogba had just been in 2 finals in a couple of years prior to that. So, yeah, it is a lot. It's one of the things I'm most bored of reading in comments.
The fact of reality is money talks, and the Saudis are showing that right now. Yeah, Mr. I don't care about money, Kante, driving around in a Mini Cooper, has now just taken 100 million a year in Saudi. Yeah, Karim Benzema wanted to finish his career. There was an offer on the table for a 1-year deal, so he goes 1 more season next season. And all of a sudden, 350 million rocks up in his bank account. He goes, well, I'm going to Saudi Arabia, mate. Everyone's got a price.
Yeah,
you just have to find the price.
Absolutely, and we often don't know, what motivates people. And what I've read before about Caicedo is that he supports not just his immediate family, but his extended family. He has cousins and nieces and nephews who he is putting through school. He suddenly gets offered $100,000 a week more than anybody else to go to Chelsea on a 6-7 year deal. That secures his family forever. And for some footballers, that's a massive motivator. You actually mentioned something to do with it. We're going to move on to Arsenal in a few now as well. But I want to play a clip that you put out.
I was so calm.
We're going to go to the other super chats soon. I know we've started all your super chats. We can't miss them because they automatically star now, so they'll come later. Stay with us. This is something you said I saw it on your TikTok. Something you said the other day about transfers at Arsenal.
Callister's already signed for Liverpool. He's having his medical as we speak, and he'll be unveiled tomorrow. And we've still not bid for Caicedo.
So you've not bid yet, and you kind of called this out, and you're a little bit like, other teams are bidding, other teams are signing people. Why are we not doing that? Are you getting frustrated already at Arsenal's transfer window, Lee?
Well, yeah, we've just signed Reece Nelson to a new contract on 60 grand a week. Why? Makes no sense. Did we not learn from Eddie and Nketiah 100 grand a week in the King's number? Like, we've got William Saliba stalling on a contract because we're offering him 120 and he wants roughly 200. And then people going, oh, it's too much money. He's only young. Well, we've just given Saka 300 grand a week and he's the same age, mate. In fact, he's younger. Yeah, then we put 2 bids in January for Caicedo, or did we? We kept good relationships with Brighton. They're not in a final like Declan Rice tonight. Good luck to West Ham, by the way. I hope they win it. Yeah, I really do. I've never seen them win a trophy, so it'd put all the Spurs fans in the mud even more as well, just if West Ham win it. So yeah, on that basis alone, I want the Hammers to win. But we apparently bid for him twice in January. He was 70, 80 million we were going to in January. Well, he ain't in a final. De Zerbi said on the last day of the season in an interview when they played Aston Villa, Moises Caicedo and Alexis McAllister have played their last games for the club. They will be leaving this summer. His words. He said it in an interview. So we're now sat here, and I know the window don't open for another week, but you can still sign players. Asensio has just signed for, and Ugarte just signed for PSG. McAllister for Liverpool. No, there are players being signed. You can sign players, Terry. So then you get people coming to me on that particular TikTok saying, oh yeah, but the main priority is Rice. Well, if he's the main priority, why don't we bid for him in January then? And then the reply to that is, oh, because he wanted to finish the season with West Ham. What a load of cobblers. Like I said a minute ago, everyone has a price. West Ham, if we had offered them 2 billion quid for Declan Rice, he would have been an Arsenal player in January. Yeah, Caicedo, we bid 70, 75 million, whatever it was. If we had bid 100 million, Caicedo would have been our player in January. So now we're sitting here. The season finished 2-3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, whatever. Yeah, and we're sat here without bidding for Caicedo. Why? Because we're keeping good relationships with Brighton, but now we're keeping them with West Ham. And I think a lot of people are getting duped into this notion of, oh, as soon as the final finishes, tomorrow morning, we're going to lodge a bid. Yeah, great. England play Monday and he's in the squad.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because the bid is being reported as imminent. It's happening very, very soon. Do you see the Declan Rice bid happening in the next 3 or 4 days? Or do you feel like Arsenal is going to drag out longer and over the summer with Bayern Munich's linked, United now linked? How do you see this one going?
I think it's going to drag out until right before the season kicks off. Yeah, because let's be real with it, Terry, right? How many games has he played this season, Rice? Because he never misses a game.
I don't know. I'm gonna go and check out. I'm gonna guess and say 50.
I'm gonna guess and say more than that. Yeah, 38 league games, the cup games, all the Europa League, Conference League. I'm gonna say 58.
Let's have a little look. Are we including
plus the England games, plus all the England games as well? So let's say 70.
So 49 for West Ham, and in the C and 14 for England in the last 12 months. So yeah, over 60 games.
There you go then, right? He's going to want a break and go on holiday. He's just had a kid, apparently. His father's his agent. I didn't know that until the Bayern Munich talk came out.
Yeah, Sean's a good guy.
Right, but why
Sean.
Would they even entertain speaking to Bayern Munich when he's already given Arteta his word? That makes no sense to me. Because he gave Arteta his word. He only wants to stay in London, mate.
I tell you why it does, though. So you have to read the full stories. I've gone back and read some old articles and a new one that's come out today. He's happy with the terms that Arsenal have offered him. Doesn't mean another club can't come in and change his mind until he signs that deal. So what I will say is this.
No, I get that, but he's given Arteta his word.
Of course he has, unless someone else comes in and betters it. You might
this word's a load of compliments.
I'll give you an example, though, right? Say you've only got one slot in your whole week. And I'm like, bro, please do straight back to me. You're the biggest YouTuber in the world. I need you. You're like, yep, do it. And then somebody else, KSI comes along.
We had, by the way.
Yeah, we did. But then say KSI comes along and says, yo, we want you that same time, that same place each week, and we're gonna pay you £1,000 an episode. You've given me your word, but you're gonna change your mind. That's the thing, right? It can happen.
So what you're saying is money talks, ambition could be based on only one club's coming for me at the moment. It's a bigger club than West Ham, with all due respect. I ain't got no problem with West Ham. But then Bayern Munich rock up and it's like, oh, well, I've said many times I want to play Champions League. They get to the latter stages, I'm guaranteed a title. And I've seen people sitting there doing this mental gymnastics in their head. He only wants to stay in London. Yeah, why would he go to Bayern Munich? He's got a young family. You do realise to get from one side of London to the other side of London takes longer than it does to fly from London to Munich.
I just want to say something on that. This is the thing. Again, people misquote it. 90% of the articles I've read says his preference is London.
Thank you. But this is what fans are saying. He only wants London.
Let me just say for a minute. Someone here said, so then his word means nothing. No, Emmy's word does mean something. However, it's about Arsenal capitalizing on that. So I'll give you an example. The summer where you guys wanted Thomas Lemar agreed in about end of May, early June. I'm happy to join Arsenal. He's very happy to. Arsenal said, we're going to do whatever it takes to get you. They had a bid or two rejected of, I think it was like 50 or 60 odd millions. What then happened is the whole summer, Arsenal made barely any communication with Thomas Lemar. Then on deadline day, when they thought, when they'd done a deal with City to sell Alexis Sanchez, and we saw there's all the footage of Alexis Sanchez and his teammates at Chile celebrating that, Arsenal then went and did a £100 million bid, which got accepted by Monaco for Thomas Lemar. But what Thomas Lemar turned around and said is, listen, been radio silent.
On international duty playing that night as well.
International duty. He said, I'm on international duty. Been radio silent for 2 months. I'm no longer convinced about moving to you. So he'd promised, but because circumstances changed over the summer, his mind had changed. And I think too many football fans now, I don't even think they're I don't think they're dense and they don't get it. I believe they like to bury their head in the sand. Declan Rice may agree personal terms with 4 or 5 clubs. This happens. Then they all start to play off against each other and improve offers and better things. It's called business.